commentary. Hey, bro, I'm coming up with this new movement, yeah?
Go on.
It's going to be called philosophical sophistication.
Philosophical sophistication. I like that.
Sounds hard, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Bro, because you know what it is? Nah, because you know what it is? Nah, bro, listen. Because you know what it is? You know, like in the like working world, there's like a whole thing of like, what qualities do you have? What skills do you have? And obviously there's certain skills, there's certain qualities. I'm like, what about if you start introducing like philosophical sophistication? It's like, how sophisticated is someone philosophically? How well do they understand the world? And
so that's like worldviews and like philosophies and stuff like that. That's an interesting one, because even like we all got a lens, right? Everybody has a belief system and something that they see the world through.
Yeah.
That will be that'll be a hot take.
Well, what's your take on like, so see what you just said with lenses, yeah? Like one of the things that I like to look at now and what I call it is belief templates. So like I look at people, like everyone's got a belief template. So whether we're looking at is whether it's like money, like relationships, anything, any area in life, and I believe in much more areas than just those anyways, but there'll be a belief template on each single thing. And I believe that obviously people's templates can change if they want it to change, sort of thing. What do you think about looking at it from like a belief template point of view?
A belief template.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting, because so what you're essentially saying is you'll be looking at a belief template in terms of, all right, so if we're talking about relationships, then you're going to potentially have somebody looking at it through maybe a Christian point of view, or like a Sikh point of view, or like a Muslim point.
No, so do you know what it is? So see with the belief template, I wasn't even meaning like from a religious point of view. I just mean like what's like, you know, like people believe in things, innit? Like as in like they'll be like, oh, I believe that people should be kind to each other, sort of thing, or I believe that people should live their life like that. So I mean it from that, not just like in terms of like the belief template is the religion. It's just like, what's the belief template? And religion can be one of them anyways. That's part of the belief template. They go, I believe in this religion, or I believe in that religion. That's the religion I follow and practice. So I meant it from like more like what if every person was looked at like they got their own set of belief templates.
Okay. Elaborate that a little bit more so it's clear in my head.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So for instance, let's say me and you now, like we probably have a different belief template when it comes to building relationships. So what do you value in relationships the most?
Okay. I value loyalty.
Yeah.
I value reciprocation.
Yeah.
I value honesty. And I value also I value in a relationship. What's this word? Because my love language is quality time.
Yeah. So you also value quality time as well.
Time, yeah.
Cool. So for me, I value understanding. I value unconditional relationships, meaning that there's no condition attached to how many times someone would have to see someone, or like how often they need to speak. But then every single time they meet, it's unconditional.
And let's talk about relationships. Yeah. But do you know something? Because I got a point on that.
Yeah.
Do you think that you can have unconditional relationships with people? And to what degree do you think you can have unconditional relationships?
So I believe so. For me, so this is what I think.
Go on.
So people talk about so when it comes to relationships, I think that unconditional relationship is one-sided. Meaning that I get to be the person. So if I decide to have an unconditional relationship with people, I get to decide that unconditional relationship. They don't have to decide that because that's my decision. Does it make sense? Because I'm the one that's not attaching the condition to it.
Okay.
So two people don't have to attach a condition to that relationship. It can just be me. I can be like, you know what? I'd be like, you know what? Javier's my guy. So for instance, I might not see you for 5 years. But I might be like, you know what? But that's my guy unconditionally. So I have no conditions because condition can be, for example, condition can be like, I need to see Javier every 2 months.
Yeah.
I need to chat to him every this amount of times. Like Javier needs to help me out with this thing. Those are all conditions, innit? But for me, I don't have no condition. I'm like, you know what? If Javier doesn't do none of those things,
that's still my guy.
That's still my guy after 5 years.
Deep.
Yeah. So I think it's just one-sided, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that exists. But I think the mistake we can almost make sometimes is feel like that's owed to us. And I've been there where I feel like, nah, do you know what? You have to do that. But the reality is, and this is what I think there is no such thing as unconditional relationships, except the only one you can expect unconditional love, whatever it is from your parents, because they gave birth to you. Everything else, in a way, there's transactions involved. Do you know what I'm saying? You have to give, and then to at least be in a position where you can expect to receive. It might not even be from that person, but everything else, genuinely, the flow of life, how I see things is you always have to give, like giving value. So for me, I know I can't expect, you're my guy, but I have to be in a place where I'm giving to you. I have to add value to you. I have to give in some way, somehow. If it's maybe a repost or something you're doing, or I have to be there for maybe like you've got a ceremony, or like as a friend, I have to give to you. I can't expect, because we get on, that we're just gonna be unconditionally friends. Do you know what I'm saying?
But that's the thing. But that's so interesting, because that's where we're slightly different, right? So like you're saying you have to, but for me, and this is the thing, that's why it's good to understand the other person. Because then if you understand that you don't have to do that with me, or just with, you know, some people might be, you don't have to do that with me. And you go, actually, that's kind of cool, because I don't have to do that. Because then that's the thing. Because if you're going in all these other relationships, you're expecting you have to do that with everyone. It's like some people go, you know, actually, I'm slightly different to other people. I don't need none of that, or I don't need all of that stuff. Like I find that super interesting, man.
No, that's good. It's good. And it's good to have that understanding of people, because it just makes relationships, I feel it gives us variety in relationships. Because if I know that I don't have to, I know I can rely on you, I guess, in one way. And this is not just personal use, just for example's sake. I know that, you know, you're my guy, I can rely on you. It gives you peace in some way, because you don't feel like you have to do too much.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
But do you know what's funny? Like, I don't. So this is gonna sound hilarious. Yeah, I'm definitely a guy people can rely on, but I don't want people to rely on me. You know what I'm trying to say? It's that thing of like, it comes with like mad responsibility, or like, and it's like cool, like, and I know I'm gonna be there. So like, if someone is gonna rely on me, I know I'm gonna be there, and that's the thing. I don't want to be there. Does that make sense? It's like, it sounds a bit mad, because like it's a lot of it's pressure. It's still pressure. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting, but you know that thing of like going back to unconditional relationships and expectations, and that's why I feel like people out there sometimes just talk shit. You know, they say, "Oh, I'm unconditional, whatever," but then something happens, they go, "Oh no," but they're moving like that. So one thing I've learned, it's like, this was like maybe 3-4 years ago. I was in my workplace. So I wasn't in my workplace on that day, but basically what used to happen, we have like a hub. So it's like a reception kind of area. And what happened at that time, we didn't have a receptionist. So people, all the different staff members were on like a rotation, right? So I was on a rotation for Fridays. So I would cover the hub for like half a day on Fridays. And basically what happened is that, so I used to cover everyone. So whenever someone can't be there, I'm like, yeah, I got you. And I'm thinking I'm doing it unconditionally. There's no condition attached. I'm just doing it to help, And then I remember there was one Friday, I'm like, can someone cover me? And there's like maybe like 15 staff members in the office. No one's responding to it, you know? Like no one's saying I can cover you. I was like, these motherfuckers, But like I got angry, you know? And I'm just like, and I'm driving there. So I'm like, I had to cancel whatever I had to do that morning to go there, to go work in the hub. And I'm driving, I'm like, I'm never gonna cover these people again. They're taking the piss, So I'm switching in my head. I was like, actually, hold on, but I had to check myself. And I go, actually, there's all of those times that I've covered them, did I do it expecting that when I'm gonna need it, they're gonna do it for me? So actually, that's kind of like, that's not unconditional. I had a condition attached to it the whole time, and I was like, you know what? Actually, fuck it. Even now, even if I still have to cover them after that, I'm still gonna do it because that's who I am. I'm doing it because I'm doing it unconditionally. You know what I'm trying to say? That kind of put it in context.
That's dope. And even with what you just said, one thing that I've learned is, even if I come through for somebody and I'm sowing seeds of good in somebody's life, I make it a thing where I don't expect them to do the same thing to me, or I won't expect a receipt from that area, because that's when you get frustrated. Like, I will get frustrated. Like years ago, I get frustrated. No, I'm doing this. Like, why is this not coming back to me? I'm thinking, but you should be in a place where you do good for somebody without expecting anything back.
And it's done. Once it's done, it's done.
It's done. Like, keep it moving. Do you know what I'm saying? And life is easier that way. I feel like life is, when you in the grand scheme of things. I mean, I don't want to say this because it might sound wild, but like, life is easy in the grand scheme of things. Life is actually easy.
Thank you.
But we complicate it. And it gets messy because we're human beings, isn't it? But in the grand scheme of things, life is actually easy.
Yeah. When we don't make up shit in our mind.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, and I feel like it's not necessarily that. So I'm a little bit of like, I've been fucking around with this idea of like, are we what our thinking is, or is our thinking just a process and there's something higher than the thinking? Yeah. Because like sometimes I'm like, I'll go with this thing of like, do I think about my thinking? And I go, actually, I think I'm a bit higher than the thing. So there's like two different entities.
Yeah.
There's me as a like spiritual being or whatever, and there's the thinking there. And so I was going, no, actually, the thinking is something different. So it's the thinking that makes things complex.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? Because the overthinking can be fucked up.
It can.
It can turn something simple into like, this is complex now.
Yeah.
I think, I agree with you, man. Life is easy. Just the overthinking that gets in the way, man.
100%.
Yeah, but listen, Javier, I'm grateful to have you here, man. And it's funny how life works. It's like, when we linked up the first time, it's almost like you was meant to be here from then. You know what I'm trying to say? That's when the podcast really started. Deep. And it's just that's where we're at now. But what's one thing that people should know about you?
One thing people should know about me is I am a gentle giant. I'm actually a gentle giant, and I'm a lover. Like, I love hard. Like, I think those two things is what people should, because you might see me and it might not come across, or you may have an idea of me based on how you knew me, maybe before, who I was before and who I am now. You might have an idea of me, but I think it's important that people know that I'm a lover and I'm a gentle person. Does
that ever frustrate you, like when people judge you based on like what you might appear rather than who you are?
Do you know what? It comes down to like this idea, living up to this idea that people have of you, of who you should be and who you want to be. Do you know what I'm saying? Because like for me, I'd say in my 20 odd years on planet Earth, like there's always been this expectation of who I should be from my parents, friends, family, school, institution, workplace. Like, who should you be? Like, you should be this person, you should grow up and be that. And it's like, I'm not responsible for that. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not responsible for that. So for me, I don't really take it anyway. Somebody's gonna think you're a bit too this, or somebody's gonna think you're a bit too that, or you're not this enough, or you're too much of that. Do you know what I'm saying? But for me, I just know when it comes to it, as long as I can come back and be by myself and say, okay, I am sticking to like my true self and like what I stand for, then I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything else will always like plan out, because people tell different stories, man. I've been in situations people just tell so many different stories. Some people will lie on you, make up this, that, and just be saying. And for me, I'm not trying to do the back and forth. I'm like, you know what? The truth will eventually come out, and as long as I know I'm sticking to my own integrity and the truth is what the truth is, then I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Now that sounds really interesting. You don't have to go out your way to just like then go and explain what your truth is. And sometimes even if you try to explain it, people are still going to think like, oh, is he now trying to like say this because of this or whatever. It's that thing of like overthinking. Like, people just, you're right. Like, there's something liberating about going, you know what, I'm not going to give a fuck about what people think. And just like moving on from situations quicker than the amount of time, sometimes I used to spend a lot of time thinking about, oh, what did that person think? Or like, should I speak to that person? And then whatever. Now I'm just like, you know what? I moved on. If they really want to, like, if it's really important to them, they'll speak to me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I'm done justifying myself.
Absolutely, man. And even with that, it's almost like a test of you, because life will always test you, and there'll always be situations where it's going to be a test on your character. And I remember something happened not too long ago, and I was talking to one of my close friends about it, and I was like, oh, what should I do? Should I respond? Should I come out? Should I say something? And he's saying, no, you're in a different space now. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like taking the long road, take the high road. Taking the high road, like, be the bigger person, like, be bigger than that. Don't, a lot of the times we want to choose violence, we want to be petty, but when you choose that, I'm just not going to respond to that, you find that in life, like, you will begin to elevate in certain things, and then your character grows as well. That
sounds like that thing of, people say that thing of like people are in a certain vibration. So it's like when you're in a certain vibration, and then people trying to draw you to their vibration because their vibration a bit lower, or like they're kind of like, yo, like you're kind of doing well. Let me drag you here a little bit. It sounds like a little bit of that, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. And when you're ambitious, you know what I'm saying? You got this incredible platform that you're building. With Aladdin behind us.
That we're building.
That you're both building. Oh, we're all building, 100%. And it's like, when you're in that space, like some people will want to say it's the devil, some people want to say it's negative energy, some people want to call it different things, bad people, whatever. But there would always be that opportunity to bring you down. That's always gonna come. Do you know what I'm saying? But once you arise above that frequency, that vibration, whatever it is that's trying to pull you down, like the blessings that come to you, mate, it's incredible, man.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think one thing I've realized in life as well, is that it's all about consistency and persistence with things that we want to do. Like no one knows about a guy that's quit after like 10 tries, or like no one knows about it. You know what I'm trying to say? It's about like every single person that's successful, whatever measurements of success we're using. It's actually, someone can go, being a quitter is success. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like whatever measurements we're using, but like every single person that's done well in something, they were persistent. They didn't stop. Like, because obviously, like, I feel sometimes it's like that thing of like, it can get really difficult to just like keep pushing and just start questioning yourself, like, bro, am I really doing this thing? Or it's like someone else is doing this or someone else is doing that, but then actually you have to go, fuck everything else. Like that's my purpose. It's about purpose, actually. Like, how do you connect to purpose?
Yeah, that's a big question, man. Because when you have a vision for something, it's only you that sees it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you can explain it to certain people around you and try and bring them on, but the reality is, and I've learned this, like they might not like you. It's good to have some people that will support you and encourage you along the way, but a lot of the time it's going to be you. You have to make the sacrifice. You have to put in the work here. So for me, it's important that purpose is tied to that, because if you don't have purpose tied to that, it's easy for you to quit. And it's also easy for you to get into something that you're not meant to be involved in. Do you know what I'm saying? We all hear the saying, stay in your lane and all of that. And like, for some people that might seem like a bit condescending. It might be like, oh no, but why is it somebody can have so much and I don't have to have so much? Or, you know, where's my role? Where do I sit in all of this? But the reality is, purpose is very important, because for anything to last long, in the long term, you know, in the grand scheme of things, there has to be a very good purpose for it. And you want to be in a place where when you look back at your work, it's going to stand the test of time. And it's got to be bigger than you. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's why purpose plays a big part into that. And it's important that we understand these things, especially now in this generation, because everything is very fast. It's microwavable. Like it's transient. Like everybody's just like, oh yeah, social media, this thing is huge. Oh, I want to be this. I want to do that. Oh, I want to be the next social media star and all of that stuff. And whilst it's great to have these opportunities, it's great to have these huge platforms, because it allows you to, your impact and your influence is bigger, and that's great. But there has to be a purpose attached to that, because it's not only one thing that I've learned. It's like your gift or whatever it is that you have, that you carry. It's not only for you. It's not only for your own benefit. It's for somebody else. And if you don't have purpose tied to that, what's going to happen is we're not going to have a sustainable model, or we're not going to really add value to people, because then what happens is everything just becomes very fickle. There's no substance to things, and we want to stay away from that. We want to stay away from not having substance, because life is a long thing. People say life is short. Life isn't short, man.
Yeah, life is the longest thing.
Life is very long.
You know, people that life is short, like RIP, like obviously if anyone passed away from, you know, dying young and stuff, but it's like even then that was still the longest thing they got to experience. Yeah. You know, like longer than anything else.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that's longer, what did I say last time? That's longer than life.
There is nothing longer than life.
There isn't? I'm sure there's something.
There can't be anything longer than life. Memory is longer than life, I guess.
Legacy?
Yeah, legacy.
Would legacy be longer than life?
Legacy.
But then that's up for perception, right?
But I can see why you'd say that, because legacy, and that's legacy is every.
Yeah, because if someone would die, and like for example, someone would pass away, but the legacy just lived on for so long. Yeah, legacy. Yeah.
But it's not the longest thing you experience. You as an
Oh yeah,
individual.
yeah.
It goes beyond you. Isn't it?
So after you die,
Do you know what I find really fascinating? Yeah, and like I love that we got into this part of the conversation. Yeah, because till this day, like this shit blows my mind. Yeah, it's the word experience and experience in general. It's like I look at everything like this is an experience. The material that's on there is an experience, and we choose what kind of experience we create. Right, like this table could have been covered in something else. Would have given a different experience. Like you're an experience as a human being. You choose how you come across as an experience. How we kind of take in the experiences also. Everything just like an experience, but it's like, it's this like weird like web of complicated connections of experiences. It's so fucking interesting, bro. It's like we can have a conversation.
Yeah.
We walk out of the room as a different experience in itself. Yeah. We have different experiences. Bro, it's just, I just can't like...
Layers and layers. Yeah.
It just gets so like mad in my head.
And that's what we are. We say we're a product of our environment, where we're literally a walking experience. Do you know what I'm saying?
Should we change it to like product of our experiences?
Product of our experiences.
Instead of product of our environment.
Yeah, remix.
I'm a product of my experiences.
I'm a product of... I like that still. You have to put that on your trade.
I'm an experience. I'm an experience of my experiences.
I'm an experience of my experiences. That one might be a bit complicated still.
It's complicated, but I know
like the first one though.
I know.
I'm a product of my experiences.
No, we're gonna run with the first half.
You had me in the first half. You lost me in the second half.
That's what I do. You know what? That's what I do. You know, like I sometimes I go a bit too like. Maybe I don't go too far. It's just I like to stretch a bit further.
Yeah.
And
no, it's stress testing, isn't it? You stress test this thing that we're exploring, and once you reach a limit, you know how far you can go, and you can. It's essentially you're assessing your playground. How far can I play football? What's the length of this pitch? Once you know that, as soon as possible, you find out. Boom, you can. Creativity goes out the wazoo.
Yeah. And maybe the thing is stretching us, bro. Because there's that thing of like, are we stretching the experience, or is the experience stretching us?
Major pause.
No, well, your mind works differently. So you took in a different way, fam.
I took it in my perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is fucked up. But
so my thing is like, what's your listening? Because like his listening is different, isn't it? You know what I'm saying?
Listening to my listening, innit?
Yeah, so it's what Sachin said, isn't it? It's like, what's your listening? It's like, how do we listen to things? It's like that thing of like, we can listen to the same song right now. We'll hear different things.
100%.
I go like, what are you hearing? And like, you'll be like, I'm hearing this. And what am I hearing? I'm hearing something different. It's just like, we're hearing what we're listening to internally. Like there's people out there, they go like travel the world, innit? And they're looking for something. They're looking for like happiness or contentment, whatever they're looking for. It's like they're looking everywhere around the world, but they don't look within themselves. It's so crazy, and I find it similar with like, I'm not again, but I love reading, so I listen to audiobooks, but I do that for different purposes, not because I'm looking for something. I do it more for my own cognitive development and just my own discoveries within myself. But like some people actually like, let's say they want to become like more confident, or they want to become motivated, but they go read books on confidence and motivation, but like they forget to like look within themselves. I find it so interesting.
It's an interesting one. One of the greatest books I've ever read was called Key to Yourself by Dr. Vera or Venice Bloodworth or Bloodworth. I can't remember the name.
I'm saving that right now.
That book, Key to Yourself, changed my life. I read that a couple of years ago, at least 4 or 5 years ago now. And life is lived on from the inside out. Like life is lived from the inside out. So if you want to experience a greater life, you have to be a greater person on the inside. Like you have to find it on the inside. And I think that's something that, like you're saying, everybody is always looking to. All right, say for example, Will Smith had a nightmare at the not the Grammys, the what do you call it? Oscars.
Did he, just before you carry on, did he have a nightmare, or did he create the nightmare?
He created the nightmare. He created it for so many different reasons, but it manifested with him slapping Chris Rock in the most, like, I can't even till this. I'm still processing it. Like, I just wow, but it happened, right? And now the news is he's gone to India for like a healing retreat or something like that, right? And it's like, this is somebody who has it all. And I have huge respect for Will Smith. Do you know what I'm saying? But he made a big mistake. And it's like, he has obviously realized that there's something going on within himself, that he needs to go out to this place to... And I say all that to say that what you might see on the outside isn't always the reality. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and everything that you are looking for, you have to find it on the inside of yourself. If you're looking for happiness, because we have to remember, and you said it earlier about being a spiritual being, you have to acknowledge who you are as a person. Like you are a spiritual being. You're more than just your flesh. You're more than just the muscles, the clothes, the Balenciagas, you know, you're more than all of that. You're more than that. So when you understand who you are as a person, then you can begin to walk and operate accordingly, and you can find the things that you need to find to live a full life. So yeah, it's a massive thing, and you have to find it within yourself. And even with that, when you're reading all these books on confidence, or you're reading all of this stuff on how to be a better this and that, then comes the application, because you can read dozens of books, but if you're not applying it, if you're not doing it, then it's just more information. Yeah. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's a really interesting point.
Yeah, no, I find it interesting. Obviously you're a writer as well. So I feel like people that write, they're a good example of applying knowledge. So like, for instance, like most people that's written a book on something, they probably read loads of other books on something else. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's like they've taken all this knowledge and then they applied it, which was through the action of writing something. You know what I'm saying? What's been the process for writing in writing for you? Because you know what it is, I don't actually know many writers in general. So I'm actually super fascinated with like just the whole process of like, at what point do you feel creative to write something? And it's like, what were your barriers as well to even writing something in the first place? Because I think all these questions coming from me internally right now, because sometimes people go, you should write something or whatever. And I'm like, maybe I'm a little bit like, maybe I've got some barriers that's there, you know.
That's a good point. And even with what you said about not knowing that many writers or authors, that's one of the reasons why I said I'm going to do this, because I don't have proximity, or I didn't at one point, to any writer who's hugely successful. Like I've got friends who are big superstar musicians. I've got friends who are, you know, family friends who are like big presenters. Like they do all of this great stuff, people into business. But when it comes to writing, the industry, for whatever reason, is a very type of way. But I don't have proximity to people that do that. And I always felt like, man, why is it that there's nobody from my context or from where I've come from or within that's gone out to do something like that? Is it because they thought it was too far from them, or that they couldn't do it? You know, there's nothing new. We all know there's nothing new under the earth, right? So no matter what anybody produces, if it's fiction, then maybe from their ingenuity, on their imagination, to create a story. But there's only so many ways you can tell a story. I think there's about seven ways you can tell. You've got your rags to riches, you've got your quest, you got, you know, all of these things where you look and you see it in Star Wars, you see it in Lord of the Rings, there's only so many ways you can, so there's nothing new, but it's just who's actually been that courageous, I'd say, to do something. Amen.
You, bro.
Yeah,
like, I'm feeling inspired just by listening to what it's saying right now.
Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that. So that's why I said, you know, I'm gonna try, because I don't believe, of course, based on your gifting and what you're naturally good at, but the fact of the matter is, there's nothing you cannot do.
This is what I was gonna say. So from what you're just saying now, the reason I said I feel inspired, that's the sense I'm getting. You're going, you know what? Fuck all these like fucking limitations and barriers in life and all of that stuff that you go like, that shit don't apply to me. I'm gonna go right. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna prove people that actually it don't matter like what your background is and all these different things. You can do what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I find that. Yeah, that's powerful, man.
But yeah, like even with the writing and stuff, absolutely, like we can all do it. And I feel like for me, it's really about like self-awareness a lot. It's a lot about like knowing what your rhythm is. Do you know what I'm saying? Because you might be somebody who can wake up every morning and just write, or just put your thoughts, like whatever it is. You can just write. You just get up in the morning, you just write. You might be somebody who finds the best time for you to write is in the night when it's quiet, everybody's asleep, and it gives you. Some people, they're like that. Like they like to feel like they got the advantage, because when everybody's sleeping, you're up, you're working. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that might be the best time for you.
That's a bit of like competitive side of people coming in. It's just like, everyone's fucking sleeping. I used to be like, I used to go for runs at like midnight.
Yeah.
She'd be like, yeah, you motherfuckers in bed right now. I'm running, bitch. Yeah. I wake up early in the morning, 5 a.m. You know what? I used to think that I'm the guy, yeah. So I used to go to this training camp in the mornings, yeah, like 5, 6 a.m. in the morning, you know. Yeah. But sometimes there, I didn't go to other gyms. I wasn't really exposed to other gyms. So I'm thinking like, yeah, they're hard. They're doing like kickboxing in the morning, circuits, like sweating. But the training was definitely harder than other gyms and stuff. And then I started going to Pure Gym. I go there like 5 in the morning. I'm like, yo, there's bare motherfuckers in this place, bro. Like, I'm not the only one. I'm like, yo, you know what I'm saying? If he was nothing special training 5 in the morning, there's bare people up.
Bro, that is funny. I remember there was a gym. I went to my gym at around, I think it was 12 or something, 12 in the AM. I was thinking, yeah, because nobody's going to be in the gym. I know my gym. I've been there for years. I know nobody's going to. Bro, I went in there, yeah, the place was packed. I was like, oh my, like, how, where are you guys? Like,
where did you not come from?
Where are you coming from? Like, yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
It's like you feel disrespected at the fact that, oh, bro, how dare you be better than me?
Yeah. I thought man's like making like some power music live. You know, like they talk about, the early bird catches the worm. Wake up 5 in the morning, you're gonna be successful. Bro, just bare motherfuckers out.
Have you heard the full line of that one? Early bird, the full one.
Nah, what is it?
Early bird gets the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese.
The second mouse gets the cheese. Okay.
Why does the second mouse get? Why not the first one? Is that it? Oh, the first one got killed. By who?
By the trap, the mouse trap.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah.
So the early bird.
But take it. Now look at it metaphorically.
I didn't even think about that.
Now look at it metaphorically.
Because
the early bird is one that goes and does it first. They invest in Bitcoin first. They do this first. Yeah. But the second mouse is the person that watches and learns. So who do you want to be, the bird or the mouse?
I still want to be the bird because
they still get a warm advantage.
Matters still.
You know what it is? That's the thing. So my thing is, I'm going back to this thing of like, yo, like failing and learning is the same thing.
You can still.
I'm gonna keep saying this until people get it. Yeah.
100%.
Failing and learning are not two separate entities, yeah? They're not two separate things.
No, they are.
They're not. No, Failing and learning is the same thing.
It heavily depends on the perspective though. Because if I'm feeling I fail as a fail and I end it there, that's a fail.
Wait, let me explain. This will help you understand, yeah?
Okay.
Failing is a label of a type of learning.
Yes.
Okay, go on.
That's it.
There's more to it.
Mic drop.
That's it. Mic drop. Failing is a type of learning. Yeah. So there's different types of learning. So I'm not saying learning and failing is the exact same thing. Let me rephrase it then. Failing is a part of learning and it's a type of learning.
So what do I learn as someone who has failed at something and chose not to learn anything from it and chose to look at it as a defeat? What do I learn from that?
You learn to be the same.
I cannot learn to be the same.
You're welcome.
No. You got welcome, but I didn't receive anything.
You're welcome, fam.
I didn't receive the
You're welcome,
gift.
Fam. What you're gonna do? You're gonna rewatch this. Yeah, you're gonna reflect before from now till then when it's out. You're gonna rewatch this and you're gonna be like, shit, that blew my mind.
Cool. No. I want more. But I'm gonna take what you just said. I'm gonna do exactly what you just said. If I don't learn anything, I'm gonna get onto you. But it's cool.
Fair enough.
That's fine. I'll tell you watch it a year later, fam, until you get it. That's the thing. Like that's how life works, isn't it?
Let me go on this.
It's like you know, you have a conversation with someone and then you go and then maybe like 3-4 years later you go, oh my days, I remember that thing you told me. That makes so much sense. But like things have to fall in place for us to get it.
100%.
But yeah. So go on. He was going.
No, I was agreeing with you. Yeah, that's true. It does. But I like that concept that failing and learning is the same thing. I don't know if it's because we're more mature now that we understand it. Would we have accepted that truth when we was in like secondary school when we was like?
Nah, do you know what it is? I think we failed enough to start understanding it because like I think like as we age, we have to go like cool. Like I failed now, I failed again. It's like. At one point I go like, you know, actually like I can't stop failing. It happens all the time. I try something new, I failed. Something else happened, I failed. Like I keep failing. So I'm like, actually that's not going nowhere. Because maybe like from young I'm thinking, actually at some point I'm gonna stop failing. I think I had a belief like at some point I'm gonna stop failing. I'm gonna get to this point in life, things are gonna be perfect, there's gonna be no more failure.
Yeah.
And then it still happens. I'm like, yo, actually, maybe that's a thing I need to live with, you know?
Yeah. No, you're right, man. Like, failure is so important. It's so important, especially on the road to success as well. Man, it goes hand in hand. Like it's a law, you know. I think that not to get too deep, but I think it's like in the laws of creation, like I think it's called the law of basically for every it's like for every failure, like there's like an opportunity for you to have equal of the opposite effect. So when you fail, there's a seed in that you can get out of that failure that can help you to succeed.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
that makes perfect sense. So I'm just trying to phrase it in a different way to how I get it. So I think from what you're saying, like for me, like when I fail, I also have an opportunity to take like so basically take the learning, and then be like, cool, like I can build on this
and succeed. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I fully fuck with that. I think there's a fear of failure just because of like, I think failure is more exposed. Winning is harder to see, if that makes. I know it sounds a bit weird. It's like winning's everywhere, and it's like we see people win all the time. Actually, you know what? Let me rephrase that because I'm wrong in my pedal word anyways. But I think failure is easier to measure. Yeah. So I'm speaking on context of like losing people, for instance, right? So obviously, it's because I work with young people. Like a lot of the times when a young person passes away, like we all know the young person passed away, so it's like that happened, this happened, and everyone's saying that we could have done this differently or all these different conversations start to come out.
Yeah.
But that's easier to measure. So like success is kind of harder to measure. So when a young person doesn't pass away and they end up going to like university or they're starting some kind of business or they're doing well in life, it's like it's harder to measure that because we don't see the consequence of what we did properly because we don't know what could have happened. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think.
So it's like when a young person passes away, like, oh yeah, we could have done this differently, or whatever. But while they're alive and they're doing well, it's like it's normal. It's like they're meant to be alive and be doing normal. But we don't know. Maybe because of the work we did, that's why they're still alive and doing well. You know what I'm saying? So it's harder to measure that kind of side of things.
Yeah. That's interesting, man. And like I feel like sometimes us humans, we like tragedy, and we like, I don't know, it's like we're kind of skewed more to the negative than we are to the positive. So I guess it's just like rewiring our minds and getting ourselves to focus more and highlight the positives and think about the positives. You know,
it's lack of perspective, isn't it? Do you feel like? So I personally believe that people have a lack of perspective in life. Do you feel like that as well, or like?
Yeah, if you don't have perspective on life, then what are you living for? Life is perspective.
But that's the thing, actually. So you know what? Can I say lack of perspective? I don't think is lack of perspective a real thing because everyone's got perspective, right? They don't have lack of it.
I think it's the scope of your perspective.
Yeah, it's this maybe yeah, you're right. It's the scope.
The scope.
Yeah.
Because you can have a perspective, like you could win, and you could think winning is the only thing.
Yeah.
And of course, winning is important. We all want to win. I think that's important for your mindset. You have to experience winning. You have to be a winner to get far in life anyway. But winning isn't the only thing. You know. So when you have people that are so set on winning, to the detriment of everything else, people, relationships, even ethics or your morals. Some people are prepared to do anything just to get the bag. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, then your perspective is narrow, and it's like you as a person can only go so far. You know. But if your perspective is open and it's deeper and the scope is wider, then you can see things from a different perspective or a different range or different lens. As
that's say. Right. Yeah.
And that's so much richer, so much richer, man. You could, because I don't know, like, just to give you an example, somebody living in Africa, let's say Angola, right, and they don't have that much, but you see them, and you know, maybe every day they look so happy. So a lot of the times when you look at, I mean, of course, Africa as a continent is still developing, and they might not have as much in terms of material wealth as the West, or even as emerging superpowers like China and all that. But when you look at the way of they live, and you know, if we was to, this is very subjective, but if you was to measure it by joy index, how much
they have
joy
something,
and happiness,
yeah, they have something better.
They have something.
Yeah.
We're stuck in a rat race, man. London's a rat race. Look at the people on the underground and your public transport going to work. It's just like the quality of life. Whilst we have so much material things, like.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why we you know, your executives at these big banks are always going to India to go and look for these like spiritual retreats.
Yeah, that's right. Like that's what they're on. Like they always look for that something a little bit more meaningful, and because they know that the thing is like it's empty, and there's like I've been listening to a lot of like stories like recently around people that's been successful CEOs and fund managers and whatever, and there was this one guy, he was like, I think he was managing 18 billion fund at like age of 34. He said fuck this. He just went on some retreat, quit everything, and just like he said that I needed to find something more meaningful. And that's the thing. I think the real, do you know what? See all these people that go, when I get this much money, I'm gonna be this person and whatever. Like I fucking want them to get that money tomorrow, because I think that's when they're gonna realize that actually that's not the case. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm not out here promoting saying, oh, be like this spiritual being, don't make money or whatever. Like make money, but also get both. Make the money and be fucking happy and be. Know yourself and just know what you want in life and purpose.
It's possible to have both, man.
100%.
Because you need, like, my saying is, you know, money is as important as oxygen, man. Because to do anything purposeful in this world, you need finances. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm coming from a finance background, and I've been working in finance for quite a few years now. That I didn't go to university, so I understand the importance of money. Even like just coming from my context, you know what I'm saying? I'm born in South London. Like I understand what it's like to come up without having much. So on a minute scale, I understand the importance of finances. But then on a bigger scale, because you might have it inside you to be a philanthropist, or you want to help people, you're going to need money to do things, because that's just the world we live in. So money is very important. But when you make money, when materialism becomes your philosophy, you always talk about the sophistication of when materialism becomes the dominant philosophy in your life, then that's when you have a problem, because it's very transient, and it's you neglect the other sides of you. Do you know what
I like what Aladdin says. He says maybe not exactly the same, but he kind of talks about money just being the tool rather than the means to an end. But we're not going to get into that conversation.
Bastard.
We're not going to get into that conversation. No.
Because the last episode he was on to me. And then you did the research, and what was it? What did you find out?
You know what? I did my own research because I took my own responsibility to do the research. However, you could have defined it differently. That would have helped me, but thanks. You know what I'm saying? But I still took responsibility for it.
Now explain to Javier, what is it?
I'm not going to explain. I'm not going to explain it. I'm not going to
Javier, right?
Yeah.
Javier, cool.
Listen, I'm not going to explain it. What I'm going to say though is that thing of like, it should be a tool to get to where we want to get to, rather than the thing that we go for. I think it should be more on that level. You know what I was gonna say earlier when we were saying like someone, let's say in Angola, someone said might not have much. You use that phrase. I know I'm fully agree with you. I'm just expanding on the phrase you used. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like have much is a measurement, right? It's like have much of what. You know what I'm trying to say? Because you can go like they have a lot of mindset, they have a lot of joy, they have a lot of this, and it's like cool. And then you can go, someone down here has got a lot of money, someone's got to do whatever, but they might not have those things that they have. So it's like when we go like have much, it's like, what are you talking about? You know, we're talking about money, we're talking about wealth, or we're talking about the human side of things, what makes a human better. You know what I'm trying to say? And that's the thing that I've been fascinated with a lot recently. So I pay attention to these things. Not this, by the way, this is not about what you said. I go to like meetings and stuff. And I listen to people because I'm a person of language, and I like language, and I'm still learning and developing my listening in terms of that. And like people would sit there and they go like, yeah, like these guys it's a huge company, like they're very successful. That's the phrases they would use. And I'd be listening, I'm thinking like, what are they successful in? You know, are they actually adding value to human life? You know, how do they talk to each other? You know, like what do they value? And it's like, but their measurement of success, like they got money, they got opportunity, they got money. It's just like, I'm fascinated with that shit of how people use the language and in terms of what they're describing. They go like, yeah, they're very successful. meaning what? Like they drive certain cars, or like what does that mean? You know what I'm trying to say?
The measurement of success is very what's the word I could use for this? Is it a moving goalpost? Is it subjective? Everybody defines it differently.
But that's the thing, bro. Everybody does define it differently. But I feel like there's a common thing, and it's around wealth.
Yeah, materialism.
It's around wealth. Yeah,
100%. It is.
Yeah.
But for me, it would be hard, and this will be me detaching myself from reality if I said that those things don't matter, because the reality is it does. Like even, and it goes back to the whole, all right, Angola. Let's go back to Angola or somewhere in Africa where it's like they don't have the material wealth as the rest of the world, or maybe they do, but it's not utilized in a way that, you know, we here in the West are accustomed to. You know, we can go and we know our electricity isn't going to cut out.
Yeah.
We're going to have running water. Our roads are developed. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a level of comfortability. There's a standard of living that we have, right?
Yeah.
And these things are nice. I'm not going to cap. Like, it's nice. And so in that respect, it's important. And I think, yeah, like in an ideal world, maybe Angola could be developed like that.
I also know that if we didn't have those things, we'd still be all right.
If we didn't have those things, yes, 100% we'd be all right, because it's just the evolution of the world, right? Because at one point we didn't have all these things, but we were still, but there was still a level of, there was still a system, there was still a development, there was still something that, you know, you can say, all right, this person's got a lot, this person hasn't got a lot. But I say all that to say that whilst these things are important, let's not forget that they are important, because sometimes we can almost polarize things, and it's like, this person's so fixated on having wealth and and we kind of demonize these people. Like sometimes we can almost demonize being rich, you know, but the grand scheme of things is important. You know what I'm saying? But it's just, let's not neglect the other side of life, the spiritual side, the values. Let's have a holistic picture of this thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I want to see you in a nice house. I want to see you owning your house. I want to see you, you know, flourishing, thriving. I want to see that for you.
Do you know what though? Yeah. So I think for me, and this is what I'm kind of starting to realize as well. And to be honest, it shouldn't even matter, because by the time I'm gonna pass away, it's not gonna matter anyways. But like I'm at a point where like actually like maybe we should just all have like one of something rather than multiple. You know what I'm trying to say? Maybe just, or maybe even two. Like cool, one house in this country, one house in another country. That's cool. But I think some people got some ridiculous wealth. They own so much, and it's like they don't even need it, bro. They don't need it. It's ridiculous, that's the excess, bro. And I think that's the thing that drives me a bit nuts. But I'm not one of those like people that's gonna complain like, oh, like these people got wealth and they should whatever. It's cool. It's cool. Let me go work hard myself and get there, rather than look at people and say they should be giving it out and this whatever. Because fair enough, I don't know, they were born into it or they did something, and you know what? There is that thing of like So one thing that, so I'm going to use Donald Trump as an example. So you know that thing that people took the piss out of him for, that thing where he says, I got a small loan of $1 million from my dad to start my business stuff, right? Okay. So yeah, $1 million is not a small amount, but bro, there's people that win millions and they go broke the next day. Yeah. So my thing is like, cool, what he's done with that 1 million, like he's actually got some sick mindset where he can go turn that into like $1 billion wealth, you know what I'm trying to say? So obviously he would have certain contacts and stuff, so it's easy for him to do that. I'm not going to take all of that stuff away. Yeah. But even then, everyone's got a different starting point. Yeah. So he had a better starting point or whatever, but still what we do with that starting point is what matters, because I could have literally been in the same position as him. Could have had $1 million, could have had all these connections, but maybe I would have fucking went broke in like 2 weeks because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Yeah. So goes back to the point of like actually learning and having knowledge around what we can do with money and what we can do with opportunities and how we talk to people, how we expand network and stuff. That's the fucking gold. Yeah. That's more valuable. So at any starting point we have, whether we start with £1,000, £1 million, whatever, like we'll do good. Yeah. Because we have those other things, the foundation.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's so timely that you said that, because I was listening to the story of David and Goliath on the way here. And that story is powerful because it actually it gives you a perspective on how to deal with challenges. And it speaks to exactly what he's talking about in terms of using what you have and focusing on what you have. Because in the story, if you're not aware of it, I mean, everybody knows about David and Goliath. Well, it's a big story, but when you look at the fine detail of that story, they gave David armor to fight Goliath that he wasn't even comfortable in. And he said he can't fight in this. So instead, he said he's going to use his slingshot. And it's like, when he used that, it was like, well, how are you going to beat this big giant with a sling and a stone? Do you know what I'm saying? Like how? Yeah. But that's what he knew best how to use. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, when you're given something, if you're given £1 million, like Donald Trump was given, it's like, it's so easy for us to focus on the stuff we don't have rather than focus on what we do and making the most of what we do have. And that's how you.
There's an element of like ungratefulness with it as well. Because even in that story that Jewish rabbi said, you got a man who's in his car looking for a parking space. And he's driving. He's looking for a minute. Oh God, please give me a parking space. Please give me a parking space. And he finds one, says, okay, never mind. I got one. So there's an element of like ungratefulness, like you have a hand and work with it, or fuck up. And be grateful for what you're given, because whether it be $1 million or a shitty lifestyle, there's still benefits that come from it.
Exactly.
And if you're not grateful for those benefits, if you neglect them, they will leave. And when they leave, it's like water, for example. For us, I'm happy to say that water is not a thing that we find difficult to get a hold of. And the more we act ungrateful towards it, the harder we fall when you do like it. You know what I'm saying? When a drought happens or this or that, we feel it even more. As opposed to someone who's more grateful and they remember and they remind themselves every single day that yes, I have this luxury. Then it gets to the thing of how much of that stuff can I actually do? Can I be grateful for everything I have? Because I don't all work 24 hours a day. Can I be grateful for every single thing I own? Am I allowed to just neglect the water? Because I know but if I give attention to the water, I have to give attention to my feet, to my arms, to this, to that, to my bed. How much time do I got in a day?
Get to the side.
So it's a bit of a battle. That's like an internal battle for me personally. Like if I give attention to the water, I'm neglecting. You know what I'm saying? They're like children, right? You can't give attention to one and not the other. So when it comes to who you get to decide, what do I decide?
And also there's the element of like, what if you did everything with gratitude? You know, Javier was saying that, you said you're a person of love. So it's like you're doing things with love. It's like you might be like, you might be talking to someone that just like with love, or you might even get angry at someone, but with a little bit of love. You go like, actually, but I've got love for you. It's like that thing of like, when going back to gratitude, it's like, what if I'm doing things with gratitude? You know what I'm saying? And I think gratitude is like super important, man. It's just, I feel like for me, just, I'm not, you spoke about self-awareness. I just feel like I'm not self-aware enough sometimes. And I need to work on that a little bit more, just to be just to be a bit more grateful. Because when I do find myself being grateful for things, I go, actually, and it's not that thing of, I hate when people become grateful when they say that things could be worse. I hate that saying, oh, things could be worse. So I need to be, it's like, what? Just be grateful anyways. Whether things are worse or not, just be grateful. You know what I'm saying? Because gratitude is a feeling. It's not a thing where people should think about logically and go, actually, I could have had one arm less. I should be grateful for this arm. No, just be grateful for it anyways.
But I do have an internal battle with that one, because I've been saying this for a minute. All you know is what you know until something's new presented. So all I've ever known from my life is that I have two arms, and all I've experienced. My mom, for example, is the best example. My mom doesn't have hearing through her right ear, as in she's completely deaf on her right ear, and she's never experienced anything else. She was born and raised with that. So all she knows is audio coming out of her left side, not her right side. That's all she knows. So. And so the only way she can be grateful or know of two sides of hearing is to experience your environment and seeing other people that actually have two ears. So before that, all she knows is one side of ear. That's her truth. Her truth is audio that comes from the left side, doesn't come from the right side. It's not until she experiences or she knows of another person. When it comes to being grateful for what I have, well, my truth only is limited to what I've been exposed to. The fact that I was exposed to poverty, or I've seen poverty, that's why I know of it. But if I didn't know of it, am I still meant to be grateful for what I have? Like, do I maintain a consistency, or do I utilize what I've seen to now be grateful for that? Because before I've seen that, I would have been grateful, because this is my truth, this is all my existence.
So I think it just goes back to what we spoke about earlier in the podcast. It's about experience, right? Yeah. So it's about like go experience more things because that's what gratitude comes from. It comes from experience. So whether we experience bad things or we experience amazing things in life, then that's what gratitude. That's where it comes from. It's like I experience something amazing. I go, oh my God, I'm so grateful for this experience because it's such a beautiful experience. Or I can experience something really bad and I go, actually, I'm grateful that I'm still alive. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it's just going back to the thing of like, go experience more things.
Yeah.
Like go break your right arm right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you'll be more grateful for it.
Yeah.
It's just...
But it's sad that essentially what you're saying is you have to experience loss.
So that's the thing. So whether or maybe like not necessarily experience loss, but also experience love for whatever, whether it's a thing or it's a person. Experience love for it because that's when I go, I'm grateful. Like I love this person. I'm grateful for that person. Or the other way of feeling grateful is like you're losing the person and go, I was really grateful to that for that person. You know. So there's two ways of like. So what I'm saying is like I feel like. If people don't want to, like people shouldn't wait until they lose something or something bad happens to be grateful. They should always like go a little bit like, cool, like I love this thing and I'm grateful for it rather than waiting for the bad thing to happen.
Yeah, loss is like the biggest reminder, isn't it? Like when you lose something, that's when you like it's like your final reminder of, oh, by the way, you had this.
Funerals, mate. Funerals.
Yeah.
That's when everybody comes out with the stories, the tears, the flowers.
Yeah.
And then you didn't know that story.
But the person's gone. You know, when they were alive, when was the last time you spent?
I say funerals fake. Like I don't actually like. I don't rate funerals no more. You know, I'm not gonna go into basically. I'm not going to no more funerals. I said this in the last pod, and also I'm now that I'm thinking about it, I find it a little bit fake, man. Like because it's like what you're saying. It's like people weren't saying all of that shit before. Now they want to say it. So if they weren't saying that shit before, maybe don't say it at all.
They weren't saying it out loud.
Yeah, they weren't saying it out loud because...
But they don't have to say it out loud. That's why I say sometimes it's like a performance, bro. It's like... It's going to sound crazy, but sometimes I feel like some people go to the funeral to just be like, yeah, like I know this person for so long and whatever. Maybe it's part of the grieving or whatever. They want to go talk to people. But sometimes I feel like some people just go there like to perform or some shit. Like that's why I don't really fuck with funerals no more, man. Like,
I've never been to a funeral. Shit, sorry. I've never been to a funeral. Unfortunately, and that's not to say that I haven't lost, but there are people like obviously you got the people from where I live, where I'm from. You obviously got my grandparents and whatnot. I've never been to a funeral, and I've always wanted to know why don't I like a lot of it. My excuse at the time was I just find them uncomfortable, and it's just like I don't want to be there, and I didn't realize why I found it uncomfortable until as of recent. I realized a funeral, a lot of it is just learned behavior. Because I think the reason why I would feel uncomfortable is I wouldn't be acting the same way everyone else acting. I wouldn't be sad. I wouldn't be crying. And it was only as of recent we learned that crying at a funeral or being sad at a funeral is taught behavior. We learned to behave like that.
Facts.
Because it's the norm. What if that person wanted to be celebrated? What if we should have a barbecue or party or this or that? Let's do that instead.
There's some cultures that do that.
It's even better.
Some cultures do that.
So now I know why I felt comfortable is because I didn't do what everyone else is doing. But I've always been like that. I've always been like, try to go against the grain and trying to not act as everyone else with purpose, of course, not just like everyone went right because that's the path and left is a dead end and I still went left. No, I go left with a purpose and I do it with a vision. So I always wanted to know, why did I feel uncomfortable when I go to weddings? And now I realised because I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to be sad. The person might have been amazing.
Well, weddings.
Yeah, no, did I say weddings?
Yeah.
Funerals, sorry. So weddings.
Have to be
weddings and funerals are the two events that you're going to see every single family member. Those that you're close with and those that you're not close with.
And it's the two complete opposite emotions. Someone would say, "Oh, not for me. I feel shit for God."
You're gonna cry at your wedding.
You don't give a shit.
The rest of my life.
I think weddings are howlers, man. I think marriages are howler. I disagree with marriage, man. I think it's bigger bullshit in my life, man. Biggest bullshit.
So you've never had aspirations to be married?
Absolutely not. No.
Do you think that's gonna change?
Listen, if I'm open for it to change, if it's within an understandable reason.
I think it's gonna change. You know.
No.
Because the person you are today is not going to be the person you're going to be in 5 years' time.
Yeah, but the person I was 5 years ago was not the same person I am today, but it's still idea of marriage being bullshit stayed the same. So
you know what? Yeah,
I might be different.
I genuinely think it's going to change.
Why so?
Like, I can't tell you why so. It's just, let me put it this way. Yeah, including myself, I've known loads of people who were like, nah, marriage is this, marriage is that, whatever.
Did they meet the most amazing person?
Sometimes not even that. Sometimes it's just through conversation.
But why do
they end up having certain conversations around marriage, and it's like something changing the perspective. Well, actually, it's not that bad.
Yes, but why do they think marriage is bullshit? What is their perspective on marriage? And is it the same as mine? Because if it's the same as mine,
what's your perspective on marriage?
My thing is, what is marriage? Essentially, marriage is...
You just ask the question.
No,
what's your perspective?
I'm asking the question so that I can answer dramatically, bro.
Man's doing that poetry and that. What is marriage? It's a lasagna. I don't even know. I'm just trying to shit. But go on.
So essentially, marriage is a contract. It's a social contract between two people that agrees love.
You said social contract.
Did I misspeak?
No. I'm just highlighting. You said social contract.
Social contract.
Why is there social contract? Who's the contract with? Between two people,
yeah. Right? So it's social between those two people. Well, I didn't.
Well, why is it social?
Cool. I said social thinking it sounds better, but
a social contract is me not breaking the law because that involves society.
So it's social society. Cool, that makes sense. Cool, I take back that part. Essentially, it's a contract between two people, and the contract basically says it states that I love you. That's what the contract is basically stating. There's a bunch of extra words that just till death do us part, and that. But essentially, it's just a contract that says I love you, and now we are two. No, so now we are one, sorry. We are two separate entities that become one. Now, one fuck up is obviously got the whole government involvement. Another fuck up is obviously got the, if you don't sign a prenup, you're basically fucked as a man. I guess I kind of look at it as a.
What if the woman is richer than the man though?
Regardless, but I'm looking at it as more of
as in David Beckham's son married a woman.
He's
richer than him.
David Beckham's son married a woman that's more rich. Who's more rich than David Beckham's son? Wow.
Yeah, she's billionaire.
Oh, fair enough. But no, I think I look at marriage as more of
fair enough.
I look at marriage as more of like a contingency flaw, just in case this happens. And on top of that, what I also realized is people who don't like the marriage, they like the wedding and the title.
I can't wait to come to your wedding, bro.
You just summed it up like, hey, what you're saying, bro.
Javier, you know what? Let's make this deal today, yeah? Me and Javier are coming to your wedding.
You're not getting invited.
We're gonna pull up.
You don't get invited.
We're bringing the vibes.
We're pulling up. Trust me, I'll give you like what? I'll give you like 10 years.
I see a husband in you still.
You see a husband?
I see a
have we said I see a husband for you?
No.
I don't swing the way.
I see a husband for you though.
In me. No, you don't see a husband in me. You see a partner in me.
Nah, I see a husband.
You see a partner because I never been on to like, as of recent, especially in the past few years.
We're coming to your wedding, fam.
Yeah, cool. I'll never see myself. I never want to be a part of a relationship. I want to be part of a partnership.
But the thing is, right?
I was part of.
I get that, and again, it's just like society brings like not society, these social norms and terms and stuff like that. I get, okay, cool, but we have to look at it from this perspective. Yeah, what is a husband, and where has this idea of like marriage?
I think marriage is outdated.
Come.
Based on that, I think marriage is outdated. But continue. But yeah, I think
that's interesting to say.
Marriage is a ritual, though, right?
An outdated ritual.
The process of it, I guess. Yeah. But you added so many things into what you said. Like you started talking about the government and all that. Bro, like as far as I'm aware, a marriage is a coming together of two families. Like you've got the man and the wife. They come together.
This was a single piss off.
All of the rest of it is just for legality reasons because we live in a society that's ruled by law.
So why can't I not be married without signing papers and having why can't I not have a party that says, I guess it says I love you and this is my partner, this is my intention, this is my partner forever, and I have a party or a barbecue sign instead of having a wedding and contracts and all this stuff. I'm still joining the family because if marriage is a conjoining of partner families, why must there be a marriage to have that make it a thing?
Because of the severity of it. And I feel that's what society has lost its severity of a lot of things. Mostly is integrity and our word. We don't keep our word in society anymore.
And that's why it's devalued.
That's why everything is devalued. That's why marriage is devalued because your yes isn't your yes anymore.
And you know what? And you know what? And it's that thing of like hurt people. So when people have the same experience, they don't rise above the experience and still be better than the experience. They go like, fuck it, I'm going to be like them as well. And everyone starts doing the same fucking shit.
So what did I say? One the main contributing factors why I think marriage is bullshit is because there's a contingency. A contingency of what? The fact that the yes might not actually be a yes. That's my perspective on it.
But remember, the concept and the institution of marriage is of old. So this is something that's ancient.
It's outdated.
And what you tend to find is the things that are of ancients are the most valuable things.
Yeah, some things are super fucking beautiful, man.
They're very I mean, I'd say those things is what we need to look to more, because the mindset is everything is outdated. So we're devaluing the things that were of old. But the more we do that, the more our society starts to move into this weird place.
Do you know what? I see, let me put it this way. Do you know what shifted for me? Yeah? So I used to be against marriage and stuff. Yeah, I used to be like, oh, I'm never going to get married. And why do people need to get married if they love each other and whatever? I started looking at marriage as a ritual, rather than like all these other. I don't look at it all the government stuff and whatever. All that stuff comes with it. I look as a ritual, and I'm thinking
why can't? So the reason why marriage was a thing back in the day, because yes meant fucking yes, whether you liked it or not. But now we have the freedom to have our yes mean no, because our mindset has changed. Now, if there is something about that specific thing that's valuable, aka a conjoining.
You know what I love about marriage?
Wait. A mixture of conjoined family or whatever, all these valuable things. Why can't we do those things without having all the government stuff and all the stuff we don't like involved?
Let me tell you something. This is what I love about marriage. Yeah, it's a fucking risk.
It's a risk.
Yeah, it's a fucking risk. That's what I love about it the most.
And the risk to
it's
reward
a fucking risk. Like, you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen, bro. Like, you literally don't. You think
the measure of risk to reward is bad.
You seen every single person that gets married. Yeah, you see how fucking nervous they are on the day. They're all like shaking and they're like, fuck, like this is mad. Like, yeah, it's a lot. So I'm like, it's a fucking risk.
Yeah, but not all risks should be taken.
And you know what? And you know what? And it's a statement against the statistics as well.
Yeah, it is big.
Like when you're getting married and you know what the stats are for divorces, you have to go like, you know what? Fuck you stats. I'm trying to prove something different. And most likely they're going to become a statistic as well. So it's like, that's what I love. You know what? I love that side of marriage. It's like, cool, I'm going to prove the stats wrong.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to get married because of that.
Yeah.
Fuck everything else. So my future wife, if you're watching and listening,
I love you, babes.
I love you, babes. And listen, we're going to get married just to prove the stats wrong, okay?
And then become the stat.
We're not getting married for ourselves. We're getting married to prove the stats wrong, to show that people can get married.
Do you know I love that? Do you know I love that? Because you've made it bigger than just you. This is why, yeah, and it comes back to duty as well. Like, when your reason for getting married is bigger than like just the
selfish reasons
like,
yeah.
The chances are the thing is gonna last. Like, if I get married knowing that this marriage has to work because there's future generations that's going to be looking up to me, or there's families involved, or there's this, then you're more inclined to stick through the hard times instead of you're just marrying because of how she made you feel.
Yeah.
Well, she's not going to make you feel like that in 2 years' time. Guaranteed that's not going to happen.
100%.
You know,
100%.
And then when she don't make you feel like that, what are you going to do? You're going to throw in the towel. You know, we've lost that element. So
imagine if marriage was like a boxing match. It's like 1 round, 2 rounds. You get me? That's who's throwing in the white towel first.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that'd be mad. All right, bro. Listen, we're gonna start wrapping up soon. Before we do so, I want to ask you this one thing. Yeah. So this is one of my favorite questions, actually. Usually, I ask in a format of like, so far in your lifetime, what are the 3 most important things you've learned? But I'm gonna ask one. So like for you right now, like the thing that comes to your mind, and I hate sometimes, like, you know, sometimes we ask this question or like we have the conversation and you might go away and think about it later on and be like, fuck, I forgot to say this thing. So hopefully it's not the case. But like, what is like the one key takeaway from life so far for you that you value a lot and you want to share with people?
In life, you have to be patient. I think that's one thing. You have to be very, very patient with life. You have to be patient with people. You have to be patient with life. Don't rush things. Be patient. I think that's a takeaway for me. I feel like I have to share that one today because, yeah, man. Like I said, life is a long thing.
Yeah,
it's long. We say life is short, but it really is a long thing, and it's long because of the obstacles and the challenges you're going to face and the situations you're going to come across. But you have to learn to be patient. Like, be patient with people, be patient with situations, be patient with everything. Everything, just be patient because, there's a lot of growth in what you're going through. Do you know what I'm saying? And you have the time to develop a certain maturity and, you know, to reason correctly and to be able to handle things the right way. So, patience is very, very important.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Is there anything you want to promote?
Yeah, I just want to shout out to my mums. No, big up my mums, man. I love her. But of course, I'm a writer, so I have a copy of my first book that I released right here.
Jeez.
You can find this on Amazon. I'll give this to you, actually. You can have this copy. I've also got another project that I'm working on. Big up to my agent.
Can you know, just before, can you talk about the title? Because like, I find the title really powerful, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So this was, do you know, it's funny how I got into writing and stuff. Because if you ask me at 16, would I be an author? I'd say, nope. That would not cross my mind. But yeah, the title came about, I guess, the premise of the book, because it's about us being able to write our lives, because we get to a stage where maybe you're 16, 17, 18, you're ambitious, you got all these plans you want to do, you get to 21, 22, 23, maybe you've gone to university, you finish university, you come out, you got student debt, trying to work, find your way in your career. And it's like the years go by and we kind of get worn down by everything life has to offer.
Yeah.
And life brings our way, adulting and everything. And you just kind of like, you lower your expectations, you lower your ambitions, and you just begin to settle. And it's like, no, what about the dreams that you had? What about the things that you wanted to do in life? You know? So I just thought, do you know what? I want to get skin in the game as a writer. So I'm going to put together, a short book just to share a bit of my experiences and some things that I know, some truths that I could put a fresh spin on it. And the best way to sum it up was write it your way. You know, our book, our life is a book, and each page is an opportunity for us to start and write a new narrative or write something new. So
yeah, that's what I love about the title. That's why I said it's really powerful. I found it empowering, just like write it your way. Just like we are like a book ourselves, and then we're just writing a life all the time. So
yeah,
just write it the way you want to write it, rather than other people telling us. What's that quote of like, when writing your story, make sure the one that's holding your pen, something like that.
Yeah,
something along those lines.
Absolutely, because we're born with all of these expectations, and your parents want to be this and that, and they want the best for us, the best they know they want.
Yeah.
We know ultimately what it is that we have and what we carry in our visions and stuff. So got to stay true to that, you know.
100%. And do you want to promote like any of your social media as well? Because I know you had some content coming out recently, and are you going to be releasing more of those videos?
Absolutely,
right?
man.
Yeah.
We're coming with a lot of content over the next couple of months. So just it's a new series that I started titled "Writing Your Story," and it's just about, I guess, bringing people in to see what it's like to be an author, to be a writer, because not a lot of people know what the industry's like and how to kind of get started. So just kind of share my story. Like I said, I've got an agent now. Grateful for her, Katie. Big up, Katie. She's doing great work, and just working on another project as well that's kind of under wraps, but it will be coming out in short time. So yeah, Instagram, my handle is Javier Nicholas _, and you will find that on Twitter, you find it on LinkedIn, all social medias, Javier Nicholas _.
Cool. And the last question we ask, we got time? We've got 1 minute, 2 minutes?
8.
Huh?
8.
Oh, that's calm. We've got loads of time. So, and the final question that I've got for you, do you want to phrase it this time? Because you might have a different way of saying it.
I've always been a fan of like having one way.
Saying in the one, I go and say, say your way. Say your way.
That's what I can do.
I keep alternating it a little bit.
That's good. It's good to.
No, so I can do it. I like the consistency, but I'll run the question normally. Essentially, the question is: you have one opportunity to say one thing to 7.8 billion people. What would you say? We're losing daylight. We're losing SD card space. Bigger.
No, but, that when you put it in that perspective, because that's very heavy. That's very heavy. What could you? One chance to say something to the whole world.
Essentially, 7.8.
That's heavy.
9 or 7.
That's heavy, man.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah, I feel like I can't remove this part of me. Like I have to make room of this part of me. And I'm a spiritual person, right? And part of me, obviously, being a person of faith is my beliefs, what I believe. And for me, if I had the opportunity to speak to 7.8 billion people, I would say Jesus saves. That's what I would say. That's what I would say. Because as much as people have their own idea about religion and whatever, the heart of the matter is God is love, right? And I feel like in a world that's so divided, that's searching for something, and it's just it's still at loss. There's a vacuum. For me, that vacuum was filled when I allowed Jesus into my life.
Yeah.
So I would only want to share that with 7.8 billion people.
Yeah.
Just say, do you know what?
Bunch of Christians.
That's
you Christians.
that's powerful.
Like whatever it is that you think, or whatever you've experienced in life, like I hear it. Like it's tough. You know, there's been hurt, there's been pain, there's been all of this stuff. But you know, Jesus says, man, like it's real. That's what I would use the opportunity to do that.
I love that. And I would add to that, just write it your way as well.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I do like kind of respect Jehovah's Witnesses, because imagine you got told you had this experience and you found out the way of life, like the experience, how to live life the best way possible. Would you want to share that to the world? If you had like an exposure to like God and Jesus and like, wouldn't you not want to share that to the world? It makes sense why you got Jehovah's Witnesses and you got preachers and priests and this and that. So I don't blame them. If they all got exposed to that, then I would do the same thing.
Yeah, but for me, I guess it's removing that religion from the idea and the concept of God, because religion, I believe, is a man-made thing. And whilst it does provide a discipline, because there is a discipline in religion, like the heart of it is relationship, you know, and how I've come to learn and understand God is He just wants a relationship. He wants to do life with you. It's not about rules and regulations.
I love that. He wants to do life.
He wants to do life with you. Do you know what I'm saying? Because life, we said life is easy, but life is equally hard. like it is. You're gonna experience heartbreak. You're gonna experience disappointment, stabbing in the back, disappointments, all of that stuff. But it's like He wants to go through that with you and help you to come out of that, and maybe even warn you ahead of time of certain things that might happen. Like He's alive. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's for me. It's always like trying to help people to understand that this idea of religion and like rules, and whilst discipline is good, it's deeper than all of those stuff. It's a relationship, because you are a unique being. Do you know what I'm saying? The way you think, the way you are, your makeup, and the creator is someone who's created. He knows you best.
So while we're closing this now, just something you were saying just came up for me as well. So I'm thinking, what if I replace the word life with perspective? It's like, what kind of perspective do you live? Do you have a good perspective?
Do I have a good perspective?
No. So if the question is like, let's say if I said, do you have a good life? What kind of life do you live?
Do you have a good perspective?
So yeah, replacing the word life with perspective. Just imagine that perspective is the same word as life.
Yeah.
What if I said, do you have a good perspective? What? Now, it's not a question to you. It's like rhetorical.
Rhetorical question. Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it would be.
What if perspective is life, and what if life is perspective?
I believe it is.
Yeah,
I believe it is.
Because if once I die, that perspective's died with me. That means that life is gone.
Because that's what we are. We're just memories and experiences. Perspective.
But yeah, man. Honestly, I appreciate you being here. Such a beautiful conversation, and at some point we'll probably chop up part 2. And yeah, man, we'll keep the relationship going, man.
100%.
The relation tree, because relationships sink. So,
trees get cut down. So
you need to get a trademark, because the amount of terms you've.
I know. But see the philosophical sophistication one. Jeez. It's a tongue twister, but man's gonna run with that. You get me? But yeah, man.
Cheers.